Hello, my name is Nathan Taylor and this is a video to accompany the Sockmatician's Double Knitted Brioche ebook. This particular video exists just to give you some visual demonstrations on the various ways in which you can slip a stitch from one needle to the other. You'll be using lots of different types of slips in the workings of some of the techniques in this book, so it's a good idea to have visual representation of exactly what I mean when I say the name of each type. We're all familiar with slipping purlwise. That means bringing the working needle and coming into the stitch, and in this case the yarn over as well, coming in from right to left and from back to front and slipping the stitch over. Slipping purlwise through the front leg like that from left to right, that's its full title. So this is slipping a stitch purlwise through the front leg from the left needle to the right. You can also slip the stitch purlwise through the front leg from the right needle to the left, and with this time we're using the left needle as the working needle. And again I come in from back to front, this time from left to right, like so, and I slip the stitch back over to where it started. So purlwise that way, purlwise that way. You can also slip a stitch knitwise, and I'm going to slip the stitch knitwise from this one from the left needle to the right. So I'm going to use my right needle as the working needle, and I'm going to come round the front of the stitch and go in as if I'm going to knit it. So I'm coming in and going across the stitch from left to right and front to back, and I slip it across that way. Can you see slipping it knitwise has remounted the stitch with its yarn over, so they're now sitting with the right leg behind the needle and the left leg in front. I can also slip it knitwise through the front leg from the right needle to the left, which means using the left needle as the working needle, coming round the front of the stitch and its yarn over and going in from right to left and front to back and slipping it across that way. That's also remounted the stitch from there to there, but now it's gone back to where it was, where we found it. So that's purlwise through the front leg from left to right, purlwise through the front leg from right to left, knitwise, which means coming through the front from left to right, and knitwise from right to left. You can also slip stitches through the back legs. Very often that will be because your stitch is mounted the other way. Sometimes it won't be. So I'm just going to show you some of the instances where you might need that. Let's assume then that I've got a stitch which is mounted with its left leg in front, and I want to slip it from the left needle to the right, maintaining that position. I'm going to slip it knitwise through the back leg, and that means inserting the tip of my right needle, going in from right to left and from front to back, and slipping it across that way. That hasn't changed the mount of the stitch, it's just changed its location. I'm just going to remount that stitch ready for the next slip. I can also slip a stitch knitwise through the back leg going from the right needle to the left. That involves taking the tip of the left needle, going in from front to back into the stitch from left to right and slipping it over that way. You can also slip a stitch purlwise through the back leg, usually in a remounted position, but not always, but it's easier to show you, so I've just switched things around. So I've got my right leg behind the needle instead of in front, and slipping a stitch purlwise through the back leg from the left needle to the right looks like this. Using the tip of my right needle, you take it around the back of the stitch, beyond the stitch, and it comes in towards you like that. So the tip of the needle is coming in from back to front, and it's going from the left side to the right side, and that switches the orientation of the stitch and transfers it across. You can do exactly the same going back in the opposite direction from the right needle to the left, using the tip of the left needle, taking that behind the stitch and its yarn over, coming towards you that way and slipping across that way. The important thing to notice with all of these slips is wherever it says purlwise in the text of the book, purlwise always, regardless of which needle is the working needle, always involves entering the stitch from behind the work to the front, coming in from back to front. Back to front is always purlwise. Knitwise is always from front to back. front to back. It doesn't matter whether you are going in knitwise through the front leg or knitwise through the back leg. I'm always entering the stitch from the front side and coming through to the back. That's through the back leg, switch it around, and that's through the front leg, but that's knitwise. That's with the right needle. Let's put the stitch over here and show you the same is also true. So knitwise with the left needle is always from front to back. Knitwise is always front to back. Look, you see there's through the back leg, like so, from the front to the back. And if I switch that around, knitwise through the front leg there, it looks a bit more complicated, but it's still going in from front to back. The same is true for purlwise. So always from back to front there, always from back to front there, back to front with my, this is the working needle, so it's coming in from behind and coming to the front. And then if I'm going through the back legs, this needle is still coming from back to front, purlwise through the back leg, and over on this side, this is now the working needle, and this is the one that's coming through from back to front. So purlwise always means from back to front, knitwise always means from front to back. And that should be all you need to know about slipping stitches.